Folks be throwing that term GOAT around a little bit too loosely for me, right? You can't be a GOAT. It ain't multiple GOATs out here. It's one the GOAT. And that's Nasir Jones. Nas got the best discography in hip-hop in my opinion, starting with the greatest album of all time, Illmatic. His last third of his career has been interesting because he's had a little bit of controversy. He had a huge hiatus between Life is Good and his Nasir project with Kanye West. Speaking of Nasir, I thought that was his worst project since Nostradamus. I was starting to worry that Nas lost it a little bit, but what I didn't see coming was a Hit-Boy collaboration being the catalyst for Nas' career, especially coming off of a Kanye collab. But each of the three projects he's dropped up to this point and solidified him more and more in my opinion. I thought their first project showed great flash, but I thought it was really the chemistry they showed on King's Disease 2 that really showed how special this collaboration truly was. And then I know I'm in the minority here, but I personally think Magic was their best project. I think Nas' rapping was on another level. I'm optimistic they can hit another peak with this King's Disease 3. Let's get to it.
You go down there looking for justice, that's what you find, justice.
It's comedy, it's hilarious. Look yourself in the mirror, tell me times
Nah,
like the
this beat
scariest.
already
For me, dropping
crazy.
album after album like it's a various artist compilation, but it's
That nigga spitting for one. Am I tripping to that? Nas made Hit-Boy a little more soulful. I love this soulful loop, but he has his synth over the top of it. I feel is a little bit more from Hit-Boy's wheelhouse and Nas' wheelhouse. It's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm saying the chemistry between the two.
hilarious. Look yourself in the mirror, tell me times like the scariest. For me, dropping album after album like it's a various artist compilation, but it's just me and HB, and this should take concentration. Niggas know I don't drop this off, so cherish it. Like your daughter's graduation, kids'
That's a
marriages.
fact.
When the culture vultures swoop down.
Man, pay attention to this various rhyme scheme, this various three-syllable rhyme scheme. He's like alternating between using it at the end of the line and then using it in the middle of the line with a different rhyme scheme. It's sick.
In the sound, they drew up contracts for our niggas, Drew Hill to Drew Down, and I'm praying they set. Instead, most artists don't live as good as the execs, and they end up depressed. Scarred by A&Rs, the music be changing, and the culture be shifting.
This
so
is
you gotta
timely.
move with it, call me the partner. Find a new formula, one that takes everything in you to make. The audacity masterfully crafted these classics, so naturally had to be nasty back at it.
Man, stop playing. I think one of the things that made Illmatic the best rap album of all time, on top of the vivid storytelling, is when that album dropped, nobody was using multisyllabic rapping like Nas did at that time. Since then, rap has evolved to where multisyllabic rapping is a little bit more common, a little bit more complex, especially for underground rappers. And for Nas to be in his 40s and evolve with it is really impressive. This rhyme scheme here is ridiculous. Nearly every single syllable is rhyming.
Argue KD1, KD2, or Magic was harder when KD3 go harder than all of them. Back in the
I hope so.
Barely rubbed elbows with CEOs. I was dolo, I better shock y'all to see me grow. Planet, leave it up to me to break the news you won't see on the screen. Chuckle at you motherfuckers, we the last of the kings. Shout to the real ones like us, it's a shortage it seems. I'm underground and overground and it's never been seen. Real kills on my streams. Got
That's
real
fact,
people
huh?
tapping in, so that's what that means. Indeed.
Hey, that's how I want to hear the album opened up. I love this beat from Hit-Boy. It sounded real soulful with those lush keys. Then you had these saxophones that were creeping in. The drums sounded good. Then I touched on how that little synth felt like it was Hit-Boy adding his touch to it as well. He's flashed this before, but I think Nas has really found his voice with his topic matter. As Nas evolved as a person and moved further and further away from the street lifestyle, I like that his lyrics have matched that. With him rapping about the industry where he is as an artist this far into his career, it's super authentic to him. I love how crisp the rapping was. Used pretty much exclusively three-syllable rhyme schemes, but flashed a lot of different complex rhyme schemes. Tough opener. This is legit.
We coming blacker than Black Panther 2. Nobody this thorough, that's the
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I don't think nothing gonna be as black as Black Panther 1. Niggas is coming in there with the shikis. That jump was Juneteenth and February.
Never go against the family, that's something you don't do. Don't get Eddie Kane trying to sing your way back in the group. Nah, stars in the ceiling got something to
I like how that played. This sample is sick. The Eddie sample is sick.
Rep that 718, it's hard to depart from that feeling. Careful selling weight. The DA be watching who dealing. Get yourself straight before they find that paraphernalia. For those who know Nas still here to remove the wall that our back against. Legitimize all your hustles before the gavel hit. It takes more than love. It takes waking up early to face the moment debating. Should I save it or blow?
Man, modulations and beat changes have become more commonplace in rap in the last 2 to 3 years. But I think Hit-Boy does it better than most because his beat changes make sense. And this is more of a modulation. Keys come more to the forefront. I think he took this vocal sample out of it. I probably shouldn't be guessing. I probably should just listen to this song a little bit more. But this is a smooth modulation.
I mean, it's only some paper. None of my neighbors too nosy. The Joneses own some acres. To be the greatest is lonely, but it chose me. I take it, whatever.
I love the nosy neighbors. Keep up with the Joneses flip, and then Nas Jones. That's a tough flip.
I'm out of space OD. NASA without the A at the end. Take off on 3. What's the cost of a CD?
NASA, Nas, take off. Another good wordplay.
Originality I seek out. Let's clean house to black homeowners. Check it out. To black homeowners, take over and throw the lease out. This that movie real. The Jordan Peele of this thing. Low key.
While I'm in my rented apartment.
Sold this for my kids and the cold shit I done did. All them O's I tried to flip. Who'd have thought I'd go legit? Yeah. Failed my niggas in the trial hearing no bail. Eyewitness showed up and snitches. I read Jesus' diary and ran to tell the streets. No, this ain't no hype. We in the belly of the beast.
I thought it was a dope song as well. I love how soulful this album sounds so far. More smooth drums, but I love the keys and that Eddie Kane vocal sample in the first 1 minute, 1.5 minutes of the beat was dope. I love the modulation too. Nas's rapping was dope here too. Same level of lyricism as far as the rhyme schemes. Plus he had a couple of punches that I really liked. The Sing Your Way Eddie Kane line, the Nosy Neighbors line, that NASA flip. Plus I love how vivid the imagery was as he explained him going legit, getting out of that 90s street lifestyle. I saw someone say, I'm glad we live in an era where Nas survived the 90s, and this is exactly why. This is Thun.
Welcome home, Ronnie Bumps, and love the Corley. That boss ordered us lobster tails late night in 40. We was out there trying to rid the stress. Had a beat take from stretch, rest, black tech.
His storytelling is just ridiculous. The way he's painting this scene so far.
Cars back then had broad packed in. Rest in peace of you good men, the God Star Kim. I pop a bottle, we not promised tomorrow. Showing love is the motto. Flicks a cowboy hat strapped like Desperados.
This Rotto rhyme scheme is so dope.
That was the promenade. Host a party up in Starless, they know Queens in the house. No beef for rivals, they playing either a title. Brothers can do anything when they decide to win a Range Rover. Dissecting bars from Takeover. Sometimes I text over like, nigga, this ain't over, laughing.
Hey, I don't care what no Jay-Z fans say. Nas took that. Look, if it was a best of 7, it wouldn't be a 4-0, but that was a gentleman's sweep. That was 4-1, 4-2 at best.
Overvalue fiend, shout to Brooklyn, all between hoods be overlapping, subways be stacked, and I ain't been on a train in decades, and I can still hear the wheels on the tracks. Feel the beat break, serial deface for Jakes. A license to carry still ain't safe in New York.
I hear the beat break and then the beat breaks at the same point in time. The chemistry's on 10.
Where I'm almost beautiful queens in the house. When you see me at awards or a popular place, I see chains shining. I wanna stock it over my face. Coordinated, try to see me by some popular names. For a second, I'm on some shit like it was back in the days when dudes would really put that thing onto your rib cage and pull a switchblade, do anything. It's the bridgeway, but I go stoop, roll through, just sold out the O2. Piece on my neck in a high-tech polo suit.
This is the first time he used a 2-syllable rhyme scheme, I think, on this entire album. And it's dope, the intentionality, where he's using to emphasize and highlight a more aggressive delivery as the bars are getting a little bit grittier.
Down Van Wick, Coliseum and Stan Smith, Tan Blick in the desert, brick town where my mans live. Not niggas I really met through music shit. It be some real thuns I grew up with. Iron Pack Alliance, nightmares of the cast, thoroughbreds surviving, you know.
Lyrically, I think that's the best song out of the first 3. The storytelling just gotten more and more lucid with each track, and that track there was all of Nas's best skills on display in a single song. I interpret that song as present day Nas is driving around Queens. He has a lot of money. As he's driving around Queens, he's seeing these different things that's reminding him of the past. He starts thinking about his boy getting shot, and then the bars are gritty as he painted that picture. It also stood out to me when he was talking about going to, I think it was a party, and he's seeing everybody in chains, and it's taking him back to that Queens mode where he ready to mask up, take something from somebody. I thought it was just a really creative way to contrast his current lifestyle to the lifestyle that he grew up in. I think the beat was good. It wasn't my favorite. I thought the drums sounded great. And I like that he used a violin. It wasn't my favorite. I like the vocal samples and the keys on the first 2 tracks a little bit more. But I think it definitely served its purpose because he needed like a darker canvas. Nas needed a darker canvas so that he could lyrically paint this more grim picture. Let's get into Michael and Quincy.
Eardrums diversionized from the words of mine. Just a word of advice, you can't murder Nas. All my
The Sims in the background sound like Halloween or something.
Certified, we got certain ties. Streets was the office, we didn't need a shirt and tie. MIA, weather like the Virgin Isles. I ain't got no jury on, cause I made of ice. Element surprise, but with
I like that line.
Price. To Portofino sitting high in the cliff.
I feel like Hit-Boy has morphed into a whole different producer since working with Nas. And I liked him beforehand, but his ability to create a vibe or a soundscape has picked up significantly. Oh yeah, and this modulation is crazy.
The dude with a crew and we was working the shift. Yeah, South Park cartoon characters, I'm convinced they never.
The synths that I was noting, they were in the background in the first part of the beat, and now they're in the forefront in this part.
I creeped in a jean jacket, headband, and Nikes. I ain't like to dodge fights as I rode my bike, and I was looking at these people thinking they just might make me come out my cool character, break through the smooth barriers, go crazy, CeeLo Green, Nas Barkley. Before I even pulled in the spot, they try to park me. I'm Jeepers, creepers. America's a baby that's teething, shitting on himself, crying for his next feet. As odd as it gets, it's
That's
not
a
even
fact.
a toddler yet. Gang members got nothing on these congressmen. Plus, railing
Let's go.
actors who are redemption for these mob guys.
Bro, they put so much time into this. Each modulation has coincided with like different chapters of this story that Nas is telling. I mean, the beat started off pretty dark. Nas kind of set the scene, getting into that mindset. Then he starts telling this linear story, riding down Queensbridge, about to rob somebody or about to get into it with somebody. Then the beat brightens up when he gets into current day.
I'm activated, my hair might spark flames. Aviator frames, bandages, laminates the stage. From a stretcher I wave. Even if I never had 2 arms full of Grammys or responsive from Pepsi, I'd still be honorary. Like Winston off the wall, always starting something. Behind the scenes of the Thriller video, big budgets. Moonwalking, smooth criminal talking. I'm changing colors right now till I'm dark skinned. Adam Clayton Powell complexion.
That's tough. That's tough. I'm changing complexion now till I'm dark skinned. That's a play on Michael Jackson changing his skin tone, but he did it the opposite way. He went from light to darker. That's tough.
Andy, are you okay watching me transforming? Pinky ring glitter like the socks and the glove. Know some money getting thugs that could buy the Beatles pub. That's what I really call copping white reeing up.
That copping white line is sick. Matter of fact, that whole last few bars where he had those different wordplay with the Michael Jackson and Quincy theme, I was seeing how that played into the song, but the payoff was amazing. That was an extremely well put together song. It's like it had different parts to it. It had 3 different vibes in that song coinciding with each of those modulations. On that last beat, I think that was the first time that Hit-Boys used 808s on this album. The payoff was dope. I think it was a payoff of on Ghetto Reporter when he was talking about he want fans that are 40 and fans that are 16 or some line like that. And the way that Hit-Boy was able to merge this jazzier, a little bit old school feeling saxophone and sample with these modern day 808s. It's tough. Storytelling for Nas, tough. This is 30.
But wow for keeping it so timeless. Almost half a century with a crispy line up. My peeps alarm said I remind them of Martin Lawrence breaking
This flow
horses
is
for real
fire.
I'm done with Star Chicks. I survived divorces. I ain't have to climb back. I just climbed in Porsches. I ain't have to climb back. I just climbed in Porsches. I was the ill.
He's using a force simp around here now.
But I feel free in the
Well,
field beat.
he's switching now.
For the drill beef. Doesn't matter. This is sheer relief. I feel the breeze. This is superhero material. Rap star status. Premiere album still might happen. History, havoc, instant classic. This is.
I couldn't deal without this chorus, but he is flowing.
Fairness. We've been moving how you fuck niggas want 'em. My 30 for 30 highlights doing numbers. Going on 30 summers. Going on 30 summers. Going on 30 summers. I'm going on.
Yeah, I couldn't definitely deal without this chorus. Boy, that beat was a trap beat in a tuxedo. He dressed that thing up. The sequencing of going from that last beat on Michael and Quincy into this song is dope sequencing. More emphasis to the detail they put into this. Nas slid on that verse. I could have did without the chorus, but he absolutely slid. His braggadocio was tough. Rhyme schemes tough. Flash of 4-syllable rhyming in there too for the first time on this album. Could be tripping, but I think that was the first time. I rock with the song. I will say, sequencing wise, I think that was a cool down for Michael and Quincy with how gritty and moody that song and Thun was. This is hood to hood.
The hit, there's some nice new pieces you got. Bracelets, trinkets, and necklaces.
This sampling what, 70s, 80s pop?
With Escobar cigars, let me say my piece. Money attract money, statewide hustlers. Jury sellers exposed by these fake watch busters. And now that I become number one, I'm 101, flying down a 101, right under the Cali sun. Junior Mafia, out of sub, shorty calling me son. Of one click, make $1 million today, it'll probably be us. Outside, Chicago, players in the deep. Hood to hood. If we all made niggas, then why is we beefing? When them Jewish brothers be chillin' Sabbath Friday evening, even if
You're walking on thin ice, buddy. You're gonna be making albums with your boy Kanye.
don't worry about nobody else trying to energy match. Since any cap, and that's when I really attack. I'm OJ with the memorabilia, had to steal it back. Like the Nas flow, we be hearing on your track. Stop that, my guy. You are not that, my guy. That feeling to be a king can't top that, my guy. King's disease, I'm still popping these young things. Got me thinking like, hey Marie, it's this one thing. B got big old guns. B-More got big old guns. ATL got big old guns and big old funds and big old funds.
That's a fact.
Miami got lots of sun, yeah. Dade County got big old guns, yeah.
Also, half of those are BBLs in both Dade and Atlanta. For the record. I'm on the fence on that song. I can't point one thing out that I said was bad. I think it was more so this sound didn't really resonate with me. It had that up-tempo dance aesthetic. Like I said, I don't think it was bad. I just think it wasn't my speed. More crisp rapping from Nas. He didn't get in that storytelling bag as much as he did on some of the other songs. But I like the messaging. I like the flip on hood to hood. This is Recession Proof.
I grew up around weed smoke, just like the Marleys. Heard my mom whenever she spoke. They having parties. This is 70s, of course.
That's a tough cadence.
Me, I'm in some holy but clean undershorts on the bed trying somersaults. This is Bill, they put up a killer's mural. It's a different world with 30 shot clips of curl, melon pop. Like John Fitzgerald with his girl in a drop. If he could get hit, then anybody could get got. And you an easy target, so you never know who watching. Cold-hearted monsters, whole city going bonkers.
This the Illmatic bag right here. That Queensbridge growing up imagery.
Ain't nobody recession
Lyrically
proof.
speaking.
Invest in you, that's what it's best to do. Consuming poison, somebody can't be out here moving sloppy. Movie lobby, they
took that
shot him out of
modulation
his two
into it.
Hirachis. I'm on a yacht, old smash with a newer body. New makes, new models, I won't let them stop me.
I like how the beat change coincided with him going back present day. He's did that other time of his album too.
I won't let them stop me, then I'm not just lucky. Nah. They say son hate the spotlight when they discuss me. On a filthy night, my man was serving the custody. Under my mom's window, wanted to murder this dummy. If she caught us down here raking this dirty money, it'll be ugly. She flushed it before, now she feel like she can't trust me. Cause Jung hit his jumps in the building, and I peeped him, I was low, so I stole him and sold him while he was sleeping.
Yeah, a little subtle progression too, from when he was really young to when he started actually getting into the street lifestyle.
Gave it back with interest. We even. Some of these things that we escape, I can't believe it. Knicks game up in the seats. I barely hit the floor. Not trying to sit across from somebody lady I hit before. Top of fourth quarter, I escape. And hit the liquor store. Lambo and Venador. Maybach with a mini bar.
That's a tough song. I like that bass line on the main part of the beat, and then when they have that modulation, I don't know what instruments those are. It has so much reverbs on it, but the melody is dope on the chorus, or I think on the first verse, it was the last couple of bars during the actual verse before it got to the chorus where it modulated. But the storytelling from Nas is phenomenal. I think this is the best rapping out of King's Disease 1, 2, and on Magic. And that's saying a lot because I thought Magic was his best rapping in the last 10 years or so. But this storytelling is what makes Nas the best rapping. Is just so vivid, even compared to some of the great storytellers from this era. He's doing it better than almost anyone. And the fact that he can tell these stories, these really vivid stories, and the lyricism doesn't take any step back is really impressive. This is Reminisce.
Didn't have to die so that they could call me the great one. Didn't take a couple hours. People said it from day one.
That's a fact.
Sauce to tune the tartar, driven in RRs, from hiding from robbery victims and back of cop cars. Tatted from my neck to abdomen, almost getting shot was averaging once every 2 weeks. Bless what I had to been. It's painful words, hearing these liars putting my name in dirt. Aiming, I burst, pistol practice until my fingers hurt.
That's a dope rhyme scheme.
So haters could SMD when they bitter like black licorice. My life still sweet. I went for the cash grab, crack cash was my math class, fresh white tee. 2 diamond crosses look like a hashtag, news is fake. Never knew I soon relate.
The 2 crosses look like a hashtag bar. It's sick.
Going for 7 in Tampa Bay. Is that crazy? The streets, the beef, the beats.
This arpeggiating, that electric guitar that crap in is tough.
The things that shape Hit me with a merch.
Finna get 30 on y'all.
Tripping on them, spinning corners, distant times. I reminisce on them.
Nah, Hit-Boy a different nigga for that. He didn't even have to do that, bro. The song was already fire, and the nigga decided to flex. Yeah, that vocal sample carried the melody, and it was a sick beat. And towards the end, that electric guitar comes in, and then you hear the drill hi-hats, and he gets to the drill beat, switches up the chords a little bit. That's kind of like a bridge, outro or whatever. The rapping was dope from Nas. He's still playing this contrast of that lifestyle that he grew up in and where he is present day. And I love where this song is sequenced in the album. Kind of emphasize that even though he's talking a lot about where he's from, the focus is still on evolving, both as a person and also as a rapper. I rock with it. This is serious interlude. The interlude is long as every other song on here.
A rich dude wife stayed on my block talking to me like she ain't scared to get knocked. And she wore all this jewelry, what she so well. I don't kiss and tell, but she must have ran her mouth, cause every time me and her man cross paths, it's tension in the air, he probably doing the math. Late night, she venting to me, say he doing her bad. And I ain't writing in my notepad, flipping through soul samples. Not knowing I could get caught in a whole scandal. I after driving rolls and I took off her clothes. I ain't have to have a house and I was stripping her down. I was switching them out. Ignorant amounts. I guess that's how I was moving. Can't say I was proud.
Bro, am I tripping or that story not go nowhere? I don't know these celebrities' personal lives, so maybe this is already public info, whatever the heck he was talking about. But I will say, regardless of where the story led to, that was the lightest rapping from a technical perspective on the album. Just the rhyme schemes, flows weren't nearly as complex as they've been for the entire album. And the interesting part of that, he's told more complex stories and kept the technical rapping on a high level. I thought the beat was pretty good from Hit-Boy though. Not a bad song, but I think it was definitely the lightest one of the album so far. This is I'm on Fire.
Still got the same flame behind me from the Hate Me Now video. It's continual. All I need is a beat and I'm stitching.
That's a tough, like, y'all know the video with the fire. Come on, man.
Like stitching these words together, how I'm still getting better. I'm finding more gold as I dig in the dirt with the shovel. I got the last laugh, don't get blown away by the backdraft. Don't be scared now. I'm starting to see him sweat.
These drums have been crisp the entire album. Whether they've been live drums or 808s.
I'm giving them hell now. I'm trying to walk in my soul, it's like bare feet on hot coals. Soon as I start heating up, the whole block froze. I came in without an ordinary name. How many Nas's? How many top tier? How many not here? There's something in the name that's different from theirs. Depicted in scripture, holding two dragons blowing flames. Sorry, it ain't go the same for y'all. They like the tip of the barrel that's on the wham. He's on fire, NBA Jam.
What y'all know about that, man?
I was making some moves. I need to concentrate.
These last few beats from Hit-Boy have been more mellow, slower tempo, and I still think they've been really good. From Nas, I'm rocking with the content, but I will say I think the songs that have emphasized more storytelling have been more impressive than his more either jewel dropping or braggadocio songs like this one. I will say the fire theme throughout this song, where most of the bars on this song played into the fire theme, were dope. The Flame Behind Me Like the Hate Me Now video, that bar was tough. That was one of my favorite bars on this album so far. This is WTF SMH. Okay. Why is this a song title? It's probably gonna slap though.
WTF,
hey, this sample is...
My jury is disgusting, but let's discuss the taste. I'm in another place. This whole
oh, what is this sample?
Low vibrational levels. Riders never get canceled. Now, panic motherfuckers, what you do, come back. God bless the trap, but I wanna see you untrapped. Plotting WTF, SMH, OMG. How could you put these pussy ass rappers over me? When all they do is cap, all they do is LIE. I'm LMFAO, Esco heavy in the street.
Hey, I ain't gonna hold you. He talking, but this nigga pushing 50. I'm not trying to hear this for him.
Cause she's still gonna come and put that thing down.
This beat is tough.
WTF, SMH, my jury is
especially when they drop out the bass.
Yeah, try to be there for my kids. Yeah, no matter how hard that is. Everybody's so quick to flip or say they with the.
Hey, on me, if this was sports, Hit-Boy would've got hit with a random drug test by now. This nigga snapping.
They go against someone look just like them, but when the enemy has government powers, they become cowards and cut the tough guy shit.
That's
when they are
bad.
Good souls and bad souls. Some humble people, some assholes, slow as watching the grass grow. The crosswalk lady walking with the kids to school. There's a place in heaven for her, as is you. And if you don't believe in that, then slap. Go where you going, be where you at. No hug, speaking of that. I wish that a rap song, why you calling it that? This is an audio book, I'm an author on tracks. I open.
A nigga just said that so he could charge $15 for it on Audible.
I grabbed everything and the shit that I came for. As soon as the DJ played, Big Daddy came raw. Bold, beautiful, dangerous. And I blocked out the hate that was aimed at us.
That's another. The only thing I don't like about that song is that WTF, OMG, LOL. That nigga might as well have just said INDEF nigga free at that point. That nigga saying way too many acronyms out loud. But no, that song is tough. I really like that off-kilter sample that he used on the first beat. He is in Hit-Boy used on that first beat. I honestly liked it a little bit more when he dropped the bass and the drums out. But then the beat changed. That second beat was it. That pitched down vocal sample sounded amazing. That beat itself is probably one of my favorite beats on the album. I think Nas was really rapping with a purpose. That was his most urgent delivery on the album up to this point. And then once again, I like how the beat changed. Each beat matched the mood of that particular verse. Even more proof of the level of intentionality on this project. This is Once a Man, Twice a Child. A little old school simp right here. They have this really watery guitar lick in the left ear. I like it, but I feel like I heard it before.
From mama's boy to preschool to college to now employed. Now you on. Got your first crib, she's having your firstborn. Went from buying the finer toys with your boys to buying toys for your boys.
I like this.
It's crazy how fast he's growing for sure.
Ooh, I love those last couple lines. All the entendres in there. The mama, crib, and toys lines all referencing stuff that you have when you're young and old.
Grandpops, he told me about his days of old. One day I'll be him on the porch, sipping on something cold, and it's stuck with my soul. I've been divided at the road. Hot-headed as a youngster confronted, I might unload. And walk with Bentley's Tyson Kedar, puffed out and then me. Before many men was out, we went on tour to 50. Live while you got the strip to, help you should tend to. Look, all of us ain't gonna get old. I hope this message hits you for real. Strong motherfucker when you're young.
It's crazy.
I duck the razor, duck some punches, even duck the gun. Nintendo duck hut, I duck police, I had to run. Meanwhile, when you get older,
tell them about that Nintendo duck hunt.
My hope for you is sent to you, but you could be the problem. It's not always them, my dude. Was she crazy before you met her, or you made her crazy? Possibly she gonna
Nah,
be
she
your
was
nurse
crazy
when
before.
you back to a baby. Once a man, twice a child.
That sax sound amazing. It's really dope how diverse these beats are. It's a really wide range of sounds, and it's amazing how cohesive all of it is coming together. Out of the last several, call it 4 or 5 songs, I think this is my favorite rapping. This album has really played heavy into the reminiscent versus modern day themes, as has the first 2 King's Diseases. But the way that he's able to portray that and play into that theme from multiple different perspectives, multiple different stories, multiple different types of storytelling. I like how he played into this more chill and laid back beat. Him reminiscing on his earlier years from more of an innocent perspective. He had a couple of scenes where he described violence, but for the most part, it was from more of a nostalgic point of view than any of these other songs. And then contrasting that with him looking at and facing getting older. I'm a fan of that one. This is Get Light.
The girls double dutch, I double my digits. Ain't off the rose bottle, we sip. New shorty in my life, she my lottery pick. And if the economy slips, she gon' ride with the kid. City girl like JT, MIA to the bridge.
Man, these keys and saxes.
Get light with it. Feast, I constantly seek. Moments like this is peace, to say the least. We used to play ball with girls, watch we play smooth. I had to try to be like Mike, a cool 3-point shooter. Couldn't be the loser, taking Gatorade from the cooler. Summer fall with a New York girl smoking hookah. The dreaming is far, believe who you are. The sun doesn't even know it's a star.
That's a fun song. That's a really fun song. From Hit-Boy, though, the keys and the saxophone combination is a straight up cheat code. I love the drums, and I love how that sample played into the rest of the beat. Talking about that opening sample playing into the rest of the beat. Nas is doing another masterful job of painting these pictures this time. Painting this beautiful, innocent childhood picture of him playing in the streets, and then him as an adult playing in these expensive locations. Once again, I think the sequencing is really methodical on this project. Content-wise, it's really similar to Once a Man, Twice a Child, but this time bringing the tempo up, and the song had a lighter feel, even lighter than Once a Man, Twice a Child, which I thought was pretty lighthearted. To match the aesthetic of the beat, that's tough. This is First Time.
First time you heard Nas, was you earling off some gut rot liquor on 2-5? Or your big brother put you on like surprise? Hearing my hood described, so vivid you can see it while closing your eyes. Maybe it was the age of the letters I wrote when jail letters will hope you read the credits and you saw Large Pro or some decrepit club where DJ SNS had buzz. I stepped on the stage with imperfections I was messing up on her first time.
This is a tough concept.
Your first time was you hitting the gas and the whip was some ass you never hit and she passed your real music test to know if she into the ad-libs. Real rap shit. Yeah. First time you heard Nas, you probably heard somebody say that I pick bad beats, but I feel bad with the classics they come away.
Hey, they don't have that criticism no more. He was picking some bad beats, no cap.
What I recorded last week for new guys, hope this the first time you heard Nas. It's a special moment, a million reasons I wrote it. My shit against you rescinded, cause you can tell where my soul is. The one I'm chosen like Bryce and Brody, they pop ball, so they had to do it. My dad did music, I had to pursue it. And spread my wings on a helipad like Troop did. The Twin did, rap leave me so suspended in air. Since Kendrick entered the atmosphere, 09 I was there. A La Cienega, my nigga from LA said it's a nigga from Black Hippie. I was happy to just witness history.
Bro, that's a tough concept. You know how great of an artist you have to be to even have a concept like this? To so poetically ask the listener, when was the first time you heard me as an artist? Then reflect on you listening to Slick Rick the era before you, Kendrick the era after you. So for me, I don't remember the first time I heard Nas, but I remember the first time I listened to Nas. So I'm 28. I didn't really get into rap until I was about 13 or 14, which had been around 2008 for me. Prior to that, I kind of just listened to what my friends would listen to and what was on the radio, Lil Wayne, people like that. But in 2008, I heard this song from this underground rapper named Diverse, a rapper who never blew up. He had a song called Escape Earth, and that was the first eye-opening moment where I was like, wow, hip-hop can have a deeper meaning than just these party and turn-up songs. And that kind of got me into the rabbit hole of listening to lyricists like Lupe, and that led to me digging into old-school rappers. So I had a huge Tupac deep dive into his discography, Biggie, Bone Thugs, Wu-Tang. And finally, it was time to do some research on Nas. And I remember I bought my very first 2 albums I bought at the same time. I bought Enter the Wu-Tang and I bought Illmatic, which I had never heard up to that point. What got me to buy it was everyone was saying that was the greatest album of all time. And I heard New York State of Mind, which I thought was one of the craziest beats and some of the most vivid storytelling I've ever heard. So I turned on the album. Genesis to New York State of Mind had me amped already. I don't remember the first time I heard New York State of Mind, but I remember the first time playing that album and how New York State of Mind hit as it opened up the album. I listened to that album, I hear AZ's verse, I remember One Love, and I vividly remember, the most vivid memory I have from my first time listening to a Nas album was on It Ain't Hard to Tell, which I think is personally the best song on that album. But I remember when he said Nas' rap should be locked in the cell, it ain't hard to tell. I literally got chills in my body because I was like, bro, I might have just witnessed a perfect album. To this day, I think this is the closest thing we have to a perfect album in hip hop. It gave me chills thinking about it. Let me know your first time listening to Nas in the comments. This is Beef.
I be trying to find the best way they can stop me cold. Another body, and guess who the cause and why they foes? Beef is my name, my story is age old. So question, why do I always come to take souls? I'm every man blocks, I'm the jabs taking in talks. The arguments between the women and the crab leg spots. That behind the back's complex and multifaceted. Lesson to the real, I'll be decimal. Subtract the shit, the devil is a lie. I could confuse a genius, have a move a real double, but nothing at my convenience. I am your nemesis, parents of every slain rapper, wish I didn't exist. But I'm alive, trying to find the best way they can stop me cold. Another body, and guess who the cause and why they foes? Beef is my name,
that was a phenomenal verse.
So question, why do I always come to take souls? I'm the invasion of personal space. Fake smiles on your face is certain I'm hate. All that internet beef, that shit a virgin in me. I've been here before the Bible is murder I speak. The energy creeping round the blocks in the streets. Took his guys with him shopping, they side eyeing to please.
Man, tough song. The personification of beef on this song is such a dope concept, especially on that first verse. The entire track had this dark vibe to it, but that first verse in particular was really menacing. Each cut scene of death and loss was just spitting pure tragedy. That second verse kind of seemed like it served the purpose of taking kind of these worst case scenarios of what beef leads to and applying it back to us. Then that third verse, I think, kind of looped it all back, taking it back to rappers, and particularly taking it back to the Tupac and Biggie beef. There's an interesting touch that he didn't even mention the actual shooting or the death of neither Tupac or Biggie. He just mentioned one song, and every listener can take it from there. Yeah, tough rapping. The beat, I think, perfectly matched the energy of the verses from Nas. This is Don't Shoot.
And my snitching win, the police commissioner, my friend and my player win. Me and the mayor hanging, tap in, just a grip that. I advise you to find, I don't just rap. Look around every town like a death trap. I just mind put a nine.
The electric guitar is crazy.
Now we sat back, and I'm scratching my head under my best cat. With a new clan, but we're jet black. I don't know how much I can stress that. Where the checks at.
I like that flow right there.
Don't shoot gangsta.
I like that flow.
Pop a bottle in my Nautica, Bill Russell.
Alright, I see what's going on here. Hit-Boy want to empty out the clip.
Sturdy Stevie's harmonica in my head. With a Wilhelmina model tuck, the Benz is red, blue one that's hobby shit. It's obvious your mindset is your vaccine for every disease, illness, affliction, sneeze. The pollen is got in your body, diaphragm, chest, eye exam. The disease kings get, we see it like an MRI scan. 10 years, no man killed for the next 30 years. Think about how much we will attain. And no, I do not really know the police commissioner. Shit, I talk to anybody about saving lives.
That nigga gave a disclaimer at the end. That nigga had to test the waters before he go talk to the police commissioner. You can talk to the police commissioner, just have some rebuttals ready just in case you get into some beef, because you know they bringing it up. But I think there's a really fitting way to wrap up the album with the last track being the bonus track. This wraps a nice bow on everything. Once again, it highlighted that duality with the beat change representing two different perspectives. That first verse, even though he was saying don't shoot, that first verse really highlighted the problem, and it had a beat that was a little bit darker, something that Hit-Boy and Nas have done all throughout this album. And then once the solution comes in, the beat pitches up. It's brighter, more airy. I think there were two really dope beats. Nas mentioned Kendrick earlier in this album, and it's really fitting. They both diagnosed, I wouldn't say the same problem, but kind of the same symptoms. And they both had the same solution, the same vaccine, same medicine, of the solution being you. I like the rapping, I like the rhyme schemes that he displayed on both the first and the second verse. But overall, I think last year it was really clear that this collaboration between Hit-Boy and Nas is something that's really, really special. And I think this album builds on that. This album was the best chemistry we've witnessed from Hit-Boy and Nas. I mean, every single beat perfectly matched the aesthetic of Nas's content and his delivery. When you break down each of his performance individually, I thought they both had phenomenal performances. Hit-Boy using a wide array of different samples. He had a few different types of drums too, but I think the drum sounded amazing from start to finish. He used a bunch of dope samples. I think some of the samples and some of the sims sound a little similar to each other, but I think he changed up enough elements and changed up the drums a little bit so none of the songs sounded the same. Something I really enjoyed from Hit-Boy is him getting into more of this soulful aesthetic, especially on the first half of the album. I thought that plays into Nas's hands really, really well. From Nas, it's amazing that this deep in his career, he's still evolving as a lyricist. He's always been one of the best at multi-syllabic rapping, but for him to continue to improve on that, as displayed especially once again in the first half of the album, is really special. I thought his storytelling was amazing, and then conceptually, this is a really dope album too. Not only has Nas's lyricism evolved, but his voice and the content matter has changed with his age. He's not a 50-year-old with the same perspective as when he came out at 18. And even when he reminisces on that same stuff that he rapped about on Illmatic and before, he does so with a new level of maturity and a new set of eyes. And I like how succinct the overall messaging of this album was, curing those negative symptoms that come with growing up in a street lifestyle. If there's any knock to this album, I have to say it came in the early second half of the album. I think the first half was some of the best rapping I've heard in the entire year. I think in the second half, when he started focusing on more conceptual matters as opposed to the storytelling in the first half of the album, there was certain points like Serious Interlude, I'm on Fire, where the lyricism was a slight step under where it was on the first half of the album and how he ended the album. But even with that, I personally think this is the best King's Disease. I also think it's better than their Magic project. And it's crazy that 2022 for rap just keeps on getting better. I already think this is one of the deepest years for rap, certainly since 2018. And I think this can go toe-to-toe with 2018. This top album end of the year list is already crowded. Now we got one more project to blow everything up.